It's Mike from Better Me, and I'm really excited to be back today because today what I want to do is talk about exactly where to start when you are talking to your kids about money and about finances. And really this conversation today is kind of geared towards kids that are, I would say, younger than maybe 16. Right? So these are the types of conversations that we want to have with our kids that are kind of geared towards under the age of 16. And I wrote a couple of points down here to kind of talk through them because I really do believe if we start here, we'll start to build some really good fundamental questions, concepts, and communication. And that's really where it all starts, is that communication with our kids. And so the first thing is an allowance. So if you give your child an allowance today, that's a really good opportunity for them to kind of treat it like a business. So, hey mom, hey dad, I just got paid. I did some work to do that. It's their own little business. They receive money for that. They receive income for that. And this is a really good opportunity to really try and teach them and educate them about, okay, now that you received your income, now that you received your money for doing that thing because you have your business, well, where is that money going to go? And when you receive that money, where is that money going to end up being spent? Or is it going to end up being saved or invested? And these are the types of conversations that you can have with your kids once they start receiving an allowance. The second thing is budgets. So budgets are huge. I think budgets are huge for families, right? But budgets are also huge for kids because it's going to start to get them thinking about where their money is actually going. And this is a really good opportunity for you to engage in education on this topic, such as things like assets and liabilities, where assets are things that bring money into your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money outside of your pocket, but you can also get really creative with it too. So some of the things that I thought of here is if you have a budget, you could say, well, your income is actually the money that you make from your small business. Your small business is that thing that you do around the house to actually make money from us. So whether it's doing your chores, whether it's cleaning or cooking or sharing the responsibilities in the house, we're going to treat that as a small business. And everything you get done, you actually get paid for. But where is your money actually going once you get paid? How much are you actually saving versus how much are you spending? So, for example, they may not have expenses yet. They might not have to pay for room and board. They might not have to pay for any of their meals. They might not have to pay for any of their clothing or any of their toiletries or things that they need to be able to survive. But ultimately, they're going to start to have to do that, right? As they get older. They're one day going to move out. They're going to get a job. They're going to move out. They're going to get married potentially and potentially have a family. And so we want to be able to prepare them for that. So a really cool game to play is, well, if you have a budget, your expenses could be video game time. That's a huge thing, right? So how much is it going to cost for video game time? How much is it going to cost me to play this video game for 1 hour? So if the child makes $50 doing whatever it is in their small business around the house, well, let's just say it costs $5 per hour of game time. So if I have $50 that I've made and I have $5 per hour of game time and I've played for 2 hours, that means that my expenses are actually $10 for that day or that week or that month or whatever it is. Another cool thing is TV time. So if you're one of those parents that don't allow your children to watch a lot of TV, this is actually great because it's going to teach the child the value of the work that he or she is doing because they're actually going to have to pay for their TV time. So if they've actually made $100 for the week or $50 for the week and they want to watch 2 hours of TV, if 1 hour of TV is $5, that means 2 hours of TV is $10. If they made $50, now they're only going to have $40 left. So this is a really good opportunity to teach the difference between income and expenses. And what's the difference when you take your total income and you minus your total expenses? What is that total that's left over? This is a really good opportunity to start to fundamentally teach that concept. And then the last thing is any special foods, right? If they have like any special candies and there's exceptions for that, or if they have any special foods they'd like to eat, maybe those are the types of things that they actually pay for at the grocery store. So number one, this gives them a ton of accountability and responsibility because they're able to actually pay for what they want to purchase. And they're going to start to really second guess and take a step back and say, well, okay, I worked really hard for this. Do I really want to spend this? And that's where we want to get to. We want them to understand that they're going to work hard for their money. They're going to work hard for their income. Or maybe they're going to have a business where their income comes in passively, but they're still going to have this income coming in, and they're going to start to understand, okay, there are other places that I might want to allocate that income rather than maybe some special food, or rather than maybe some TV time. Maybe I want to save it. Maybe I want to invest it. So these are the crucial conversations that you can start to have with your kids when they start to understand the difference between what income is and what expenses are. And these are some of the really cool things that you could actually use around the house to be able to have them understand that. And I mean, You could use them for kids that are over 15, over 16 years old. That's fine. If they're still living in the home, if they're still working in the home, if they're still doing chores, if they're still cooking or cleaning or things like that, you could still give them an allowance and teach them on a different scale than you would that, a child that's under the age of 16. But it's still a really good tool to help them learn. The last thing is savings. So now that they have this income, they have these expenses, right? So whether it's TV time, whether it's game time, whether it's special foods, whatever those expenses, maybe it's time out at like an amusement park, for example. So maybe time out at an amusement park, it costs, $10 for the day. So they know if they have $100, that's going to cost them $10 for the day, plus anything they want to eat at the amusement park. They're going to start to think differently about money and how they want to spend it. And that's where we can get into the savings aspect as well. We can say, okay, now you have $100 for the week, you've had $10 of expenses, you've got $90 left over. Well, what do we want to do with that? Do we want to save that? Do we want to invest that? How do we want to invest that? What do we want to invest that in? What are the differences? What happens when you invest in something that's high interest versus low interest? And also some kinds of things about inflation there too, so they understand that inflation actually makes the cost of things increase. And so this is where a lot of education comes in, but this is where a lot of simulation can come in as well. So maybe if they're not ready to invest yet because they're too young, maybe you can start simulating things like businesses. Maybe you can start simulating things like opportunities for growth in the stock market, teaching them about different things like interest rates, dividends, and things like that. And we're always here to help with that. So if you have any questions, you can reach out at info@5pillarfinancial.com. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the channel. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.